Way back in 1995, there was a wrestling game called WWF WrestleMania the arcade game that basically did for professional wrestling what NBA Jam did for basketball. Wrestlers could jump 100 feet into the air, Razor Ramon could change his arm to an actual razor, and punching Yokozuna would cause slabs of ham to fly out of him. It may be about 16 years late, but WWE All-Stars is essentially the spiritual successor to WWF WrestleMania the arcade game. It's also one of the most fun times to be had playing a wrestling game. Developed by THQ San Diego, WWE All-Stars effectively serves as an arcade-style alternative to the WWE SmackDown vs. Raw games, with realism being thrown completely out the window in favor of fast-paced, over-the-top action. At its core, WWE All-Stars really has more in common with a fighting game than a wrestling game like SmackDown vs. Raw. Combos and even aerial juggles play a large role in the combat. Fights are usually decided via delivery of a finishing move while the opponent's health is in the red, as opposed to a pinfall, and throughout the match, wrestlers are building up what are essentially super and hyper meters.
Over his head!
Where All-Star shows its WWE roots, though, is in its control scheme. Like most wrestling games, the fighting boils down to strikes, grapples, and reversals. Weak strikes can be used to initiate or interrupt combos, strong strikes can be used to knock down enemies down in a single attack, and grapples are used to perform a variety of moves specific to that wrestler's fighting style. The 30 wrestlers in the game are broken down into 4 classes: Acrobat, Grappler, Brawler, and Big Man. Each class has its own strengths and weaknesses, with Acrobats being able to do unique maneuvers off the ropes, Grapplers being able to chain together several moves one after the other, Brawlers being more adept at chaining their strikes, and the 3 big men being able to stay standing after taking shots that would normally put other fighters down on the canvas. While most wrestlers of the same class share many of the same moves, each wrestler comes complete with 4 signature moves as well as their finisher, giving each fighter a similar but at the same time very distinct feel. Reversals, which are performed by pressing the shoulder button at just the right moment, play a hugely important role in All-Stars and are generally the aspect of the game that will be the deciding factor between a win and a loss, especially when playing against the oftentimes infuriatingly difficult AI that seems to be able to reverse just about every move you do, even on a normal setting. What is most refreshing about All-Stars gameplay is simply how fast it is for a wrestling game. There's very little downtime between moves, with wrestlers getting up almost immediately after being knocked down. Obviously, this changes a bit as the match goes on, but even then, the time players will spend mashing buttons trying to get their fighter to stand up is significantly less than any other wrestling game out there, leading to a constantly quick pace throughout a match. Game modes in All-Stars are sparse but appropriate. You won't find the usual assortment of ladder matches, battle royales, Hell in the Cells, and elimination chambers that have been featured in prior wrestling games. Instead, you'll find standard 1v1s, triple threats, and fatal 4-ways. Tag matches and cage matches are also present, with cage matches providing the only truly unique spin on the standard rules of wrestling. Instead of claiming victory by knockout or pinfall, wrestlers must climb to the top of the cage and then complete a quick timing-based minigame 5 times before they are able to climb out. Considering how frustrating cage matches are, it's probably a good thing that the focus has been placed primarily on standard match types. There are also 2 story-based modes that single players will likely spend most of their attention on. In Path of Champions, players select a wrestler and participate in a series of 10 matches, with the final match being a battle against either The Undertaker, Randy Orton, or DX for the championship.
You have made a fatal mistake. Seeking to challenge me. I do not make mistakes. I bury her.
Each path opens with a cutscene that sets the stage for your title run, with more cutscenes periodically popping up to remind you about what you're fighting for.
Bane for your soul.
Though fairly generic, Path of Champions is a decent mode that gives the player some reason to compete against the AI outside of just exhibition matches. The real meat of WWE All-Stars, though, is in its Fantasy Warfare mode. In Fantasy Warfare, the game sets up a series of 15 fantasy matches between WWE legends and current superstars, with themes like Greatest Big Man, pitting the Big Show against Andre the Giant. Some of these matchups are better than others, but each match is set up with a very cool live-action highlight reel that does a good job of introducing the wrestlers involved.
On opponents throughout the WWE, one man's fury engulfed the competition.
This dragon's come too far breathing fire for any man to stop me.
Part of the reason why this mode works is because of the star-studded roster that does a good job of covering the best of both generations of the WWE. Though the lack of any of Mick Foley's characters is a little disappointing, most fans will likely be able to find at least one of their favorites in All-Star's roster. In the end, WWE All-Stars is a great and promising start for a new wrestling game series. It may not be a Stone Cold Stunner, but it's far from being at the rock bottom.